Hello again, my lovelies. Welcome to another Plinkett commentary track. This particular commentary is for the Tim Burton film Edward Scissorhands from 1990. So this is a movie that kind of catapulted Tim Burton, up a bit in his career. It's one of the films he's remembered for. A lot of people think it's his best film. Some people say, no, it's Ed Wood. Whatever. Whatever the case may be, this is my personal favorite film of Tim Burton's. I hope with this commentary to kind of explain why that is. So there's a lot of interesting themes that this movie traffics in. While this, long credit sequence is rolling, I'm going to talk a little bit about them. So this movie is kind of commentating on, what it's like to be an artist of any kind. Whether you're a painter, or a writer, or a sculptor, or a filmmaker, or even an actor. Because, performance is its own kind of art form. Basically what this movie's trying to say is a lot of artists, whatever media that they specialize in, they're basically autistic people trying to cope with not fitting into society. That's not a new perspective on artists. What this movie does that's interesting is it lends visuals to the experience of being that type of person. So whether you're an artist or not, you kind of get this window into, how artists experience existence. It's not any better or worse than anybody else experiences it. It's just different. That's what this movie's trying to say. Is if you've ever looked at an artist and gone, why the fuck does this guy act so weird? Why does he seem to feel things, in the wrong way? What the fuck's his problem? Movies like this are an attempt to explain that. There's been lots of attempts to do that over the years in multiple forms of media. Movies, books, whatever. What I like about this movie is that it's kind of a modern or postmodern version of those attempts put to film. At the times it's trying to speak to other directors. It's almost like a meta-commentary that's saying, hey, other directors, this is how your actors feel in your films. So maybe don't treat them like shit. Anyways, so rubber band back to the film. I got this woman who looks like my dad's wife. Oh my god. Then we got this chick in a comically large bed. Again, the Tim Burton distorted, props and sizes and ratios kind of come into play in this, but they're not done overly, like in a corny way. So I'm pretty sure this is Winona Ryder. I don't know, I might be wrong. Basically, we got this old crone, this wise woman who's trying to impart to her daughter some wisdom. She's like, don't ever get involved with artists because they're fucking strange. No, it's not what she's saying. So, again, she's talking about this mansion. And this chick's like, oh, it's haunted, Grandma, isn't it? And she goes, well, maybe not. Let me tell you a story. I got this beautiful, classic, timeless, Jungian kind of intro to this movie. You got an older person in the culture telling a younger person a story. It's a classic premise, and if it's done right, it can be very effective. So she's describing that this guy was like a Frankenstein creation, and he had almost everything. But like Frankenstein, the creator kind of left something out, which is just a metaphor for God making an imperfect creation, aka us, humanity. Which probably means God's imperfect. Or whatever created us isn't really God, it's something else. I'm not going to get into that Gnostic crap right now. This movie's more interesting than any of that, because it focuses on actual characters, not just vague concepts and esoteric wisdom no one can confirm. Instead, it creates people, creates characters that experience things. Those experiences speak to both emotion and logic, as long as they're portrayed in a logical way. Okay, so anyways, we got this extremely sanitized, kind of hyperbolically Americana type of town. You know, this is like some kind of parody of like the 1950s. Thought like something you might see in Mad Men, but it's even more, exaggerated than that. Again, it's very Tim Burton. But when this movie came out, Tim Burton's style hadn't been driven into the ground by half a dozen or a dozen shit films. At this point, this was like a novel thing. People looked at this and went, what the fuck? This is weird. And then Tim Burton just leaned on it for the next 25 years. People still think this is weird 20 years later, right? Well, no, Tim, they don't. It's kind of worn off. The novelty's kind of worn off. So we got this luscious redhead who clearly wants this plumber to, inspect her pipes. She's got a cigarette. Woman smoking a cigarette's a sexy thing. It's like a woman eating a steak. Oh, there's just something sexy about it. So again, all these scenes are kind of like parodies of 1950s sitcoms or scenarios or, whatever. It's just, it's all set up to establish the world we're in. This poor bastard's like, I just want to get paid and leave. I don't want to fuck you. Can't you see I've invited a fuck buddy over under the premise that my dishwasher's broken? Maybe this chick broke her dishwasher herself. She stuffed a chicken bone into a filter or whatever. Anyways. The scene kind of reminds me of Napoleon Dynamite, too. With the whole, makeup sales chick plot. Again, same type of idea. There's a lot of moments in this that kind of lean on that same kind of tone of awkwardness that Napoleon Dynamite has. Oh, this chick's married to her suitcase. It's next to her in the shotgun seat. What's in that suitcase? A bunch of vibrators? What is that, your fake husbands? What's going on? Oh shit, it's Dracula's castle. Oh. Are you curious? Looks like she is. Oh, the plot's taking a literal turn as she turns her car around. Goes in the direction of the creepy house. She's probably thinking, hey, maybe someone in that house, which is big and high up, has money for makeup. So she's like, okay, let's try to sell this person something. Again, the reason for her character going here isn't just curiosity. It's because she's a businesswoman trying to sell her makeup. So there's a reason beyond just a contrived narrative reason for her to be there. We understand that her character is a traveling salesman, and she's thinking there might be a deal to be had. That's good. Makes it so there's more than one fucking reason for her to be here. More importantly, there's a reason beyond just a narrative reason, like, oh, at this point in the narrative, this character has to be here, because the narrative has to progress. That's bullshit. So it makes scripts and movies and books suck ass. Because when characters only seem like they're gonna do one thing or another because, the narrative says they're supposed to, they gotta have their own motivations. Oh, this guy's I don't know the term, guys. because he's like a sculptor of hedges. He's got dinosaurs and hands. Takes natural materials and, he subjects them to the ideas in his brain to change how they look, to make beautiful things, artwork that other people like. And they love the artwork. But the theme of this movie is, as much as they love the artwork, they don't give a fuck about the artist that made it. It's one of the reasons AI depresses me so much. It's like AI, if it's ever able to produce things people like more than humans make, which it probably will at some point, it means that people are going to be able to just demand whatever they want. And, disgruntled artists won't be able to even be disgruntled anymore because they'll have no argument. They've already been made obsolete by AI. AI doesn't care what you feel about it. It just does what it does. But the fucked up thing is, a lot of artists, way before AI was ever a thing, or whatever they're calling AI, which is really just an algorithm that steals other people's ideas at a rapid pace and creates derivative versions of them. Artists do the same thing, but they do a better job of it because they have human bodies with hormones and chemicals and emotions. So other humans relate better to what they create because what they create has a touch of the human in it. Oh, look at this creepy laboratory. Oh, these Tim Burton machines. Watch out, the gargoyle's gonna grab you. Oh! This chick's like, this house is horrifying, but I really would like to sell my makeup, so, I don't care how horrifying it is. I like how she's talking, even though she hasn't actually seen anyone. Like, you could have just heard a noise. You have no idea if there's even a person here you're talking to. She might as well be talking to herself. It's fucking strange. What is this, the attic that Icarus and Daedalus blasted out of when they were trying to fly to the sun? It's this giant fucking hole in the roof. And there I got this creepy kind of cork board type of thing with a bunch of shit pasted onto it. I'll never diet again. I definitely won't. We got modernism, a boy without eyes, and then some kind of religious imagery. Interesting. Modernism, blindness, and religion. It's the concepts pasted onto that board. Now I got this kid hiding in the shadows. And she's like, don't worry, I represent capitalism. I definitely want to sell you something. And he's like, don't leave. I don't mean to scare you or anything. I'm a human being. God didn't finish me. Poor bastard. She's like, you're an artist? All you can do is cut up and remix what you see into new things? You can't do anything else with them? And he's like, yeah, it should be pretty obvious to you. That's all I can do. This guy's like, my dad died. She's like, okay, I get it. She's like, so you live here on your own? What do you think happened, you stupid bitch? He has blades for hands. Of course he's gonna accidentally fuck with his face. If you had an itchy nose and all you have is sharp blades for hands, you're gonna fuck up your own face. I love it. This chick's so soulless. She's still like trying to sell him things in a way. She's like, oh, look. Capitalism can help you, you artist. Doesn't matter what system an artist grows up in, you're always gonna suffer the same ways. It's just suffering with a different flavor, a different clothing, or a different coating on. So it makes me glad I'm not an artist. I'd rather be a critic. This day and age, critics get a pretty good deal. The artists are the ones who are really fucked. God help society when they're all gone. Good luck praying to the AIs for good art. What are you gonna get? It's gonna get worse and worse, more and more derivative. If you keep recycling the same shit over and over again, the nutrients leach out of it. Same thing's true of ideas. Same thing's true of aesthetics and art. If you don't have human beings that can channel ideas from somewhere we can't define, it's just a bunch of bullshit. It's like trying to grow crops in a field and you don't re-enrich the soil with nutrients. Then your crops just die eventually and everyone starves to death. Because you didn't fertilize the soil, you don't have new artists, new people. That's what AI's gonna do. God help the future generations. I'm so glad I'm not gonna be alive for what's coming. I'll be long dead over, in the next couple of years I'm gonna be gone. So good luck, kids. My advice, get out while you can, however you can. But in the meantime, if you're gonna do anything else, watch this movie, or movies like it, 'cause they're really good. Here goes Johnny Depp in his Final Fantasy leather bondage gear. And this chick's like, this guy looked kind of pale. And this horny chick's like, oh my god, another guy I can be a whore for? I'm trying to collect as many varieties of cum as I can. My pussy's like a cum museum. I've got a bunch of exhibits open. I'd love to have Johnny Depp occupy one of those exhibits. So Johnny Depp finally comes into the mid-century house and he's like, you got the old TV. And he's like, it's so clean and bright in here. Wow. I just love how seemingly sympathetic she's being to the guy, but she doesn't actually care that he doesn't know what bowling is. She just cares about her own curiosity and the social implications of him knowing or not knowing what bowling is. That's all she cares about. She doesn't care about the person, she cares about the implications of his presence in her life. It's a very shallow, egotistical way of evaluating a fellow human being. You only care about their value as a sort of toy or prop in your own life, your own performance of your life. Then poor Edward sees this chick, and he's like, my God, she's beautiful. He's like, okay, do you have a Final Fantasy portal that I can go into to gain experience? I'm trying to level up my charisma and, my white magic skill. She's like, no, we don't have that. I just love how absurd this is. She gives this fucking guy clothing. She's totally, like, forgotten or doesn't care that there's no way he could put on clothes with, like, blades for hands. It's like, what are you, stupid? This guy's got knives for hands. First place I would have taken him was an auto body shop to get his hands shaved down. Or maybe replaced with anything but giant knives. Again, if you interpret this movie logically, its characters would be like, oh my god, you have mutated blade hands. Let me take you to a car dealership and, they'll give you like blunted fingers or something. Something so you can touch regular objects without feeling like a freak. But of course they don't do that because they're brain dead boomers in a 1950s simulation. And then poor Edward, he tries to touch the bed and he sprays everywhere. And he's like, oh fuck, what have I done? And he's already cut himself just by trying to look himself in the mirror. I feel like I'm going to say this too many times, but poor bastard. And he's like, maybe I can put these clothes on with my feet. Maybe I can do that. Okay, let's give it a try. Again, I think this movie portrays a lot more effectively what it's like to have like some kind of mental disorder. Like to be autistic or, Aspergerite or whatever. I feel like this movie is a much better portrayal than any cringy government PSA about that type of shit. I mean, anything is worse than this. This is so fucking good, man. If I was a kid and this had been out when I was growing up, like 90 years ago, maybe I wouldn't have turned out an alcoholic murderer. But this didn't exist. And unfortunately, even for the people who grew up when this came out, most people probably didn't see it or didn't interpret it for what it was. So, it's just a waste of time. Like most things are in this hell we call reality. I love it. These two characters, they're so alien to each other and they're both trying to be polite. But neither of them understands the other one. It's just two people trying to, paint each other with their own perceptions and illusions. There's no actual communication. There's no exchange of valuable information. Nothing happens. It's just, you should look good for me. And the other guy's like, well, I can try. Eventually, you get the reverse of that where he's like, well, maybe I can change your guys' reality or your guys' world for you. But that comes later on. You gotta wait for it. I like this chick, she's trying to be nice. She's not being a cunt. It's just she's stupid. And to be fair, so is Johnny Scissorhands. He's kind of an idiot. Because he's lived in a creepy, mad scientist Dr. Frankenstein's attic for his entire life. Again, we got these two kind of insular societies. You got the mad scientist's house, which is like a big compound. And then you got this weird neighborhood, which is like a 1950s simulation. And I love him trying to pick up the fork. Ha ha ha. That's so fucking funny, man. It's not polite to stare at the autistic artist who's trying to eat 1950s carrots with a fork. Yeah, it's the understatement of the century, you moron. Again, a lot of this is underplayed. It's supposed to be like dry humor and ironic, and it is funny. Don't get me wrong. I've probably seen this movie too many times. Again, this Edward Scissorhands dude, it's kind of like if you took a character from like David Lynch's Eraserhead and then put him in a totally different film. But that character could only be in the David Lynch film. They didn't know how to be in the other movie. There's a lot of parallels between this and Eraserhead, which I'm sure people have talked about already. But again, part of what makes this movie great is the contrast and the interaction between Edward Scissorhands and the 1950s guys who he's trying to fit in with. You know, he's like an alien who got put into the 1950s, and he's like, I can do some things really good, like cut butter, but I can't do normal things good. Certain specific things I'm really good at, but most normal things I suck at. A lot of artists to tell you that's the case with their lives. Again, why didn't you take him to a mechanic and fucking get his hands fixed, stupid bitch? Why'd you put a creepy clown staring at him while he sleeps? It's kind of fucked up. Oh my god, everyone leaves at the same time of day into their cars. It's like that book. I don't know, my grandkids were rambling about it in the 90s, but there's some book called A Swiftly Tilting Planet, where he had like this creepy fake alien society with all these houses that were literally identical, like they were like copy pasted in a video game. So this society reminds me of. I think this movie predates that book. It's not a new idea, but one of the most famous portrayals of it is in The Swiftly Tilting Planet. You got all these different houses with people that come out at the same time, and they're all controlled by like a creepy totalitarian alien brain. It's a whole thing. You can look it up. I recommend it. It's very interesting. Even if you don't want to read the book, the concept is cool. It's what this 1950s kind of neighborhood always reminded me of when I watched it. And this chick's like, how about we make you look purple? I'm sure that'll cover up the scars. God, Johnny Depp is so good in this. God, a lot of this reminds me of the Napoleon Dynamite shit. That makeup chick who's trying to, like, paint everybody. It's not a bad impulse, it's just comical when, you know, you got these two characters who are both, like, totally ignorant of their own flaws and even ignorant of their differences, and yet they're still trying to engage with each other. There's an admirable impulse behind it. I'm trying to kind of identify with someone who I don't get. But, you know, if you're a naive idiot, it's going to produce some comedy while you do that. I love this. Edward's just sort of copying this guy, but at the same time, he clearly has experience with topiary. That's the word I was looking for earlier that I couldn't remember. Sometimes the vodka Gimlicks remove some things from the thesaurus in my brain. It takes me a minute to remember. And finally, the boomer dad is like, you are useful for something. Okay, then. Now capitalism can make use of you. Marge, where's Homer? Bart's gone AWOL. We think he may have been raped and killed and thrown into a ditch. Maggie's crying. Lisa is beside herself. Please, God, help us. Oh, wait, that's the wrong message. I love it. Now the dad's drinking Busch Light. What a piece of shit. You got an expensive AC unit in an idyllic 1950s house, and you're drinking the cheapest possible beer you can find? You fucking hack. When I get vodka for my vodka gimlets, I always go for Smirnoff. I don't do that kind of Grey Goose type of shit. I go for the good stuff. Smirnoff is the good stuff. I love it. This guy's just treating this artist like a tool. Again, this 1950s boomer has figured out that a younger artist could do something that would benefit him or that he enjoys looking at. So he only cares about preserving the artist's ability to keep working for him. He doesn't care about him as a person. Oh, and then this chick's like, you're evil or something. I'm creeped out by artists. You're obviously possessed by Satan. And this guy's like, I didn't even ask to exist in the first place. I'm not possessed by anything except confusion. Okay, and then we cut to this weird scene with this door knocker. I guess this family is the Boggs? It's like a Harry Potter name. What are they, next to the Weasleys? The Boggs. Where are they, living in the bog? Are they bog people that got revived or something? That's just weird. And you got all these creepy chicks pushing their faces into the camera like the Stepford Wives. That's another movie I wanted to mention that's kind of similar to this, is the Stepford Wives. And then I got this purple magical chick who's like on the fringes. And notice that everyone's wearing red and blue, but the chick that's in purple is on the fringes because she's, insane. Yeah, artists are a perversion of nature. We're people that probably shouldn't have existed. We should have been thrown off the cliff in Greek or Spartan times because our genetics are mutated. But you guys didn't want to do that. You wanted us here to fuck around, so here we are. We can chop your lettuce faster than any machine. Aren't we marvelous? We love being here. I mean, all of our lives, it's a constant exercise in increasing pain. But if we can provide you with some menial convenience, that's great. We love it. We love being here. That's what the artist would say. Oh, and then Edward sees the can opener. It's triggering him. He's remembering something, guys. Holy shit, pay attention. Oh my god, we're going back in time. Wow. He's seen Dr. Frankenstein's pink goo machine. So I guess this guy's made out of pink goo? What is he, like a silly putty human? Okay, there's like quail eggs. That's definitely a quail egg. That's a very tiny egg. Okay, so the recipe for Edward Scissorhands is pink silly putty and quail eggs, and then you make that into a dough, and then you have creepy Kermit cyborg puppets step on it. Okay, and then it goes into like a creepy face bellows kind of oven thing. Looks like the Quiznos oven. I'll have an 8-inch Italian. 8-inch Italian on Italian bread. Oh my God! It's the legend himself, Vincent Price. He's cracking more quail eggs. They got a buttery flavor. They're a little nicer than chicken eggs, I will say that. Vincent Price is such a legend, man. We gotta watch more movies with him. I remember I met him back in the 40s. He was a cool guy. He's making gingerbread men. And in the background, he's also chopping leeks. I don't know why that is, but oh look. Oh my god, guys. I know I sound like I'm being sarcastic or corny, but Burton has a way of doing things in this movie that actually make me feel emotions, which I don't often feel these days. In fact, I haven't felt an emotion like I just did in maybe 8 or 9 years. Burton looks at this robot, right? In that scene that was a few seconds ago. And fuck this party scene, just listen to me. He looked at that robot and he was like, this chopping robot, maybe I've been abusing it. Maybe it could be something more than it is. Maybe it could be more than a machine. Maybe I could give it some greater purpose. Again, it's like the demiurge looking at like the rejected areas of the universe that Sophia didn't want to deal with and going, why couldn't we do something with this? Why do we have to leave it alone? Why does it have to be some kind of damned hellscape? Why couldn't we elevate it and make something interesting out of it? I hate to get Gnostic again. That's what this movie reminds me of. Now I got all these boomers making fun of this guy, and he's like, ha ha, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can do your skewers for you. Have another Budweiser. Hope you die of colon cancer, you fat old fuck. He's like, oh, I took shrapnel during the war. This guy's like, my whole life's been a war, you fucking asshole. It's been a war from the time I was born. Oh, you hadn't had 2 or 3 years where you got to feel like a badass and shoot a gun, and you saw 2 of your friends die? Oh, boo fucking who? I've been dying every day since I was born. You ever experienced that, you fucking idiot? It's a miracle that, Edward doesn't go off on that guy like that. It's because he's better than that. He's stupider and more ignorant. He's so ignorant he doesn't know how angry he should actually be. It's his ignorance that protects everyone around him from the anger he would have felt if he wasn't an idiot. What a great system. Just keep anyone who's abused stupid enough that they're not aware of how angry they should be at their situation. Then they'll never even have the idea to rebel. What a great system. Genius. I'm sure it'll never fail or fall apart. I'm sure it'll last forever. In fact, I hope it does. You have my personal blessing. Anyone who lives in a system like that, I hope it never ends. Okay, so let's cut back to the movie. So you have Vincent Price, the legend. And he's trying to train this Johnny Depp golem that he's building. Again, it's like God making people. And he's reading to him. He's trying to be a father, a teacher. Look at his piercing blue eyes. He's talking to a brown-eyed golem. Air and water talking to earth. Trying to imbue it with life. And you know what he does? He reads him poetry. Tries to imbue him with the sense of spelling. Not just literal spelling, but rhyme, rhythm, real magic. And he starts to feel emotions. So just by talking to him this way, he's imbuing him with the soul. It's very deep shit this movie tries to say. But this bullshit fucking Phi Gamma Delta asshole flame truck shows up. And his beer cans falling out of the fucking car. She's like, I can't wait to wash off the cum from the 6 guys that just fucked me while I was drunk and high. Wow, what an amazing life. These guys are like rejects from the Logan's Run Society. You know, they're trying to pretend they live in that society. They don't, and they wouldn't want to. Poor bastards. Anyway, Winona Ryder comes home. Hope none of that stuff you're carrying smells like weed or you're gonna be fucked. Also, there's a guy sleeping in your bed that your mom didn't tell you about. So now you're gonna freak the fuck out. Here it comes. 3, 2, 1. Oh, poor Edward. He's like, what the fuck's going on? I didn't realize there'd be a girl undressing in front of me. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Oh my god. And this is also the chick that he saw in the fucking photo. And she freaks out, he stabs the bed. Your bed is coming! Oh my god! The parents are like, no, it's okay. That's just a creepy golem Frankenstein's monster artist man that we let sleep in your room without informing you. That was totally our decision, and we don't feel guilty about not telling you. This movie's so fucking funny. And they're like, okay, police aren't involved for the purposes of the movie. Instead, you're just gonna sleep in the basement for a while, cause you know you creeped that chick out with you know your existence, like who and what you are, creeped her out so much that we're just gonna put you in the basement. But you know what? There's a bar here, so if you want to get drunk while you're here, that's totally cool. In fact, we probably prefer it, or maybe we wouldn't, cause you know you got the knife hands. Maybe it's better if you don't drink. This guy can't even drink, can't even hold the fucking glass. I love it. The dad is so obsessed with the fucking maturation of his daughter. He's like, I couldn't handle my daughter getting breasts because I'm like a man-child. And I didn't understand, like, human biology. I, like, resisted understanding it. And so I basically, you know, I've been in denial since my daughter was like a child. I love it. He gives this guy booze for the first time in his life. And the guy's like, holy fuck, this shit is fucking crazy. Be like giving somebody fucking LSD or mushrooms when they were like 8 years old and being like, what do you think of that, little Johnny Depp? You think that's cool? You understand who you are now? And he's just like, oh God, I don't know what anything is. Help me. No one's helping me. No one's even trying. Oh my God. Oh my God, the wife brings her down here to see him. Oh, Jesus Christ. This fucking movie is so good. She's like, oh, hey, I have no idea that you just had alcohol for the first time. And he just fucking passes out. I have this redheaded chick trying to like come on to him all the time. She's like, my ass has a deficit of cum. And if you could, you know, address that, the whole economy would go up. The ass economy and the cum economy would both increase if you would just go ahead and inject some shit into my shitter. He was like, no, I'm not really interested in a redhead who's like twice the age of the chick that I was maybe interested in from a photo, and he pukes from drinking too much. Oh my god, I love this shit too. This scene is so fucking cool. Imagine being like 8 years old and you got this guy staying in your house who has knives for hands. It's like the coolest thing ever. He was such a badass in school. Holy shit. This kid, he's gonna be a future entrepreneur like Elon Musk. Made the best of a situation that was weird and fucked up. Good kid. Oh, now we have a scene where I'm trying to woo somebody in high school. I'm like, hey, I like you. And I'm like, oh, let's go over here. Oh, okay. I'll go over here. I mean, high school was pretty different in the 1920s. Yeah, it's not really applicable. I couldn't really describe it in a way that you kids will understand. But dinner scenes were kind of awkward like this, I'm not gonna lie. Somehow, the passage of an entire century hasn't diminished the awkwardness of human interaction. Like this old guy's like, buy your own car, bitch. We're not gonna give you any money even though we just waste it. In our old age, we go on 500 cruises and, deprive you of like buying a house, buying a car, laying the foundation for a family and a future, and giving your grandkids money and blah, blah, blah. I'd rather just spend it on going to, Tahiti and having threesomes with like random brown hookers. We'd rather just do that. But we're definitely more responsible than you, kid. Us boomers, we're much more responsible. We're much more mature and interesting. Ah, poor bastard. Basically, metaphorically comes in her lap by dropping a giant piece of meat on there. And you're like, oh, fuck. What did I do? So anyways, I want to talk about the figure of the artist in a bit more detail here. A lot of artists understand that they're fucked. They're losers. And the best they're going to be able to do is to create facsimiles or representations of what they wanted to do with their lives. They're going to have to just cope with being able to make things out of material that represent desires that involve people that are never going to be realized. So you might write a bunch of poems, instead of actually being able to be with a person, or you might like cut a hedge into a shape instead of like being able to have kids, because you have a sense that you're not going to be able to do that. A lot of artists will never talk about this because it's difficult to talk about. I'm not an artist, so I can talk about it. But over my 112 years of life, I've overheard a lot of artists in bars complaining to other artists. So I can confidently relay that information to you, because most of those artists are already dead. So again, as I was saying, a lot of artists won't admit this or they don't even know it. But what they're doing with their artistic careers is they're coping with being losers. Instead of just being a loser and, ending up a heroin addict on the street, they're like, well, maybe I can do something with my life. And instead of doing that, they go, okay, maybe I can create fantasies and facsimiles of the life that I know I will never have. And so they go off and make, a bunch of shit, and maybe they become famous, maybe they don't. But at least they tried. That's kind of what this movie's about. It's about artists who are trying to make the most of being freaks. And again, look at this scene. This guy could easily murder this chick if he made a mistake. But he doesn't want to. He's not sadistic. In fact, he's very precise and accurate. And he cares about his art. He cares about his craft. And it's almost like he's going down on her. He's such an artist with aesthetics, movement. He understands things in a way that a normal person couldn't because they have to live a normal life. He's lived an abnormal life his whole life, and he will forever. So he's cursed with being able to make this chick literally have an orgasm while he gives her a haircut, but he himself will never be able to have a pleasurable or normal life. Again, he gets a certain satisfaction out of cutting the hair. But these women, these people he's cutting, they get so much more out of it than he does. And he doesn't even care. He's not concerned about his own pleasure or fulfillment. He's just doing what he can do, just to exist. He's forced into it. It's like a weird kind of slavery that's not intentional or intended by anybody. It's just kind of a byproduct of society. Byproduct of different kinds of people just existing by virtue of fate. He even brushes off the chairs. My God. He's got a lab coat on like a scientist. Now he's gonna do, this woman who acted almost like a mother figure to him. She gave him a facial. This movie's so charming. What I love about it is it goes up and down in emotions almost like a fucking... I don't even know. It's like peaks and valleys. It's like 1 minute it'll be charming and kind of kitschy and funny. Then the next minute it'll be incredibly depressing and emotional. But then the minute after that, it'll get really funny again. It's kind of a bipolar movie. But it manages to justify that by virtue of the narrative. Now, this is interesting. This chick is like, well, my daughter, she wants to just sell makeup. But, maybe she wanted to do something else. And we cut to Southgate Mall. I've been there several times. Oh, not this Southgate, a different one. Maybe you can figure out which one it is. Ooh, solve the little Rubik's Cube, little autismos. Oh my God, some of these scenes, man. Everybody can relate to this. When you were a kid and you saw a group of other kids that you thought were doing better than you, you thought they were more attractive. You get this romantic idea. Oh, I wish I was part of that crew. I wish I was part of that group, that cult, that religion, that political party. But then you grow up and you realize it's all bullshit. And it's better to live for yourself. I love how a dog looks like a punk dog. That's great. So now they can't get back into the house so they can have premarital sex. So Edward's like, I'll just use my lock-picking claw to open up the door. And she's like, thanks for being a cuck. You didn't break her pussy or anything. You just opened it up for me so that I could fuck her. Thanks, Ed. Thanks for being a grade A cuck. And he's like, I don't know what that means. I literally don't understand anything. I've never been here before. So now he's on this creepy talk show and he's like, I made some friends, I guess. These people, like, have you ever thought about neutering yourself, like castrating yourself so you're not an artist? Have you ever thought about cutting your dick and balls off and ripping out your eyes and cutting off your hands and making yourself into a total drone robot idiot slave NPC to those around you? And he goes, no, but I've had offerings to do that. And then I started getting mommies like, oh, Ed's my special boy because he makes me money and gets me attention in the neighborhood. What a good boy. I'm sure none of this will backfire on any of us. And they're like, are you gonna, like, rape this guy? Are you gonna enslave him without him knowing it? To make you money or get your attention? You gonna do that? These hypnotized fucking NPC creeps are like watching the TV, like, how's Ed gonna react? And suddenly Kim sees something in him. He's looking at her through the camera, through all the waves and technology and time. He's like, do you see me? Do you understand? Do you know who I am? And he just reaches up and touches the microphone. And did he do that intentionally or not? We don't know. It's a weird move to make. Did he do it because he didn't know what it would do to him, or did he do it intentionally? It's awfully interesting to think about. So again, this minder chick of his, who's getting more and more uppity because of his artistic performances, saunters into a fucking hair salon and is like, why don't you work here? We'll make use of you. We'll rape your talents in a way that doesn't give you any sort of equivalent boon or benefit or payment for your abilities. Don't worry. We'll convince you it does. We'll convince you your labor's worth as much as, you would want it to be. When in fact, it's just what we want it to be worth, which is next to nothing. I'd rather be dead than be exploited by these cunts. These witches should burn on big wooden pyres. Nice, rich mahogany, spruce, oak smoke filling the air as their flesh burns for daring to take advantage of autistic men and their value, for undervaluing them and raping them into careers that have no value to, the person actually providing the most value to the career. And it's appropriate that there's a mannequin behind this chick, because she's basically becoming a mannequin. She's trying to tempt him with some kind of feminine form. Destroy your body, your life, your time, your energy just for a sexy woman form. Don't you want to do that? Don't you want to ruin your life for something that looks kind of aesthetically pleasing to you sexually? Well, no, I don't. Even when, I was in my 40s and I still had like a working cock, I didn't have any desire to fuck anybody like this. I understand what a witch looks like. What a femoid fucking succubus looks like. You gotta be an idiot not to see this. A lot of people are. They're stupid these days. Men and women. In fact, women can get conned by men that do the same type of shit. Also, guys, I gotta say something. She's got like pedo spiral earrings on. That's kind of creepy too. I mean, this guy's like a young, naive person, like mentally, like physically he's mature, but like mentally he's like a child. And this chick is like a lot older, and she's got like pedo spiral earrings on. I mean, I It's kind of hard to ignore that. And then after she rapes him, he like runs away, and she's like, "No, you can't run away after I rape you. You're part of the Hollywood cult now. Come on, Johnny Depp. You gotta you gotta become part of the pedo cult. You gotta eat cheese pizza at Comet Ping Pong. Come on, Johnny. You gotta be a part of the cult." If I were Johnny, I would have used my scissor hands to slit every person's throat that I could see, and then my own after I was done. Maybe that sacrifice would have had some meaning to the dark gods that these people worship. Or maybe not. I don't know. I wouldn't have gone into Hollywood in the first place. That's your number one mistake. Hollywood is literally wood from a holly. A holly tree or bush. And that's what they used to make magic wands out of. So you gotta understand something when you're going to Hollywood. You're going to a witch's coven where you're gonna be eaten alive. I think that's what this movie's trying to say in a kind of convoluted, subtextual way. Yeah, and it's not obvious. If you pay attention, you can see hints of it. So again, this chick's like, we want to kind of get this guy a house. I don't know if they're trying to get him the castle or not, but she's like, well, this guy doesn't exist because he's a homunculus made by Dr. Frankenstein. He's a CIA clone that bubbled up from a tube under under some kind of cornfield. Some kind of cornfield in Iowa or something. Oh, look at the dolphins on that lawn. That's fucking impressive, man. This guy's like, hey, let's fuck everything up in order to buy a van. What is this guy, a retard? He doesn't have enough money to buy a van. He isn't willing to save up. He's trying to impress his girlfriend by buying a van. You can buy a van for like $2,000. Whether it's in this movie's money or current money, it doesn't matter. He's like, I'm so intelligent. I've been thinking with my brain. This guy's such an idiot. Also, it seems like they already got a van, so like why would they want another one? How would another one be better than this one? What, they want like a camper van? Is that what they meant? I don't know. So basically, they recruited Johnny Depp's character to be like a thief or something. Except he's like a naive vampire that like was just created. He didn't even wake up from a coffin. He was like created. Anyway, guys, I gotta say goodbye for a sec here. We're at an hour and 3 minutes, 49, 50, 51. Peace out. And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. We're heading into like the sunken living room. But oh my god, there's bolt locks on the doors. And basically, Johnny Depp's the patsy for this shit. Hollywood's like, you're gonna be humiliated, Johnny. You're a little patsy boy with your knife hands. The 1950s neighborhood will never forgive you for this. And Johnny's trying to cut through something? What's he doing? What's he cutting through? Can he cut his way out of this? Or who knows? Oh, Johnny, poor bastard. Ah, the 1950s police. They'll send you to Angola. Oh, no. Again, they're just taking advantage of this guy. It's pretty fucking heinous. It's pretty sad. No, teenagers, they're like, who cares? But Winona Ryder's like, you probably shouldn't have fucked with this guy. It's kind of unfair to like take advantage of, a new soul who hasn't been in this reality for very long and doesn't understand that it's a big video game. I mean, if you take advantage of somebody like that, they might become a supervillain and try to make the game worse for everybody who's playing it. Might be better if you hadn't treated him like shit the minute he came into being. I mean, this poor guy. Oh my god. I think his knives are weapons. Of course they're not. They're attached to his hands. Ah, poor Johnny. Poor America. You gotta have guns to defend your way of life. If the rest of the world hates it, and they try to kill you for it, it's kind of unfair. And thank fuck some of the women who got haircuts come to defend him. So I guess the witch women defended this creepy golem at the end. But only at the last minute. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's a pretty tense situation. You'd think they would have told the cops beforehand, like, hey, we got this guy here. Don't worry about his hands. They're part of his body. That would have taken 2 seconds to tell the cops that beforehand. They couldn't have done that. Anyway. It's not how the movie plays out. Wouldn't have been as dramatic and interesting unless it played out this way. I love what the boomer parents are like, well, it's obvious the TV told him to do this. And he's not willing to rat out his friends. He's not going to say that it was that girl and her friends that, made him do it. Good for him. Good man. He didn't rat him out. Basically, finally he got a fucking psychologist like 25 years too late. And the psychologist's like, this guy's totally fucked. He just, all he can do is do hair sculptures and garden shit. But he can't talk to people. No one understands how fucked up this guy is. Even I don't understand it. And the cop's like, yeah, will he be okay? And the guy's like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, good job being a psychiatrist, you fucking retard. You can't read minds any more than I can read society and how to fit into it. It's all just a fucking racket. It's a fucking illusion. Now you've awoken the 1950s woman gossip circle. God help you. And this creepy chick, this creepy schizo chick who's like clearly, like obviously mentally unstable is like, this guy's satanic or something. He doesn't fit in, therefore he's evil. Yeah, our system's perfect. Anyone who doesn't fit into it, they're obviously like fundamentally evil. Because our system's perfect. Okay. Is it, though? I mean, I don't know. I mean, just saying, how can you prove it's perfect? What does perfect even mean? Functional? Stable? Is it even those things? I don't know. It's part of the reason this movie's so interesting. Raises a lot of questions about, what constitutes a society based on its people's opinions, its citizens' opinions. Anyway. She tried to make Jim go back. She's trying to be honest with him. It's admirable. And she's like, thanks for not ratting us out. And he's like, you're welcome. And he's like, I'm not that dumb. I knew it was Jim's house. She's like, why'd you do it? And he's like, 'cause you asked me to. And her left eye twitches. What a brilliant shot. Her left eye twitches. What an interesting detail. What could that mean? Then she goes back to this kind of like Nazi test tube guy. She's like, my old man thinks he's an artard, blah, blah, blah. And this guy's like, I pressured you into doing something and you did it. Now I'm going to hold it against you. That's really mature of you, buddy. You're definitely an adult. You're definitely a real man. Trying to blame a woman for your own plans. That's something a real man would do. Oh my God, Johnny Depp. Don't freak out too much. Don't shoot up a Batman theater. Don't do that. Oh no, you damaged some 1950s random crappy drapes. I love this. It's like this useless, hollow, out-of-date boomer advice where he's like, hey, let me give you a trolley scenario. What do you do if X is equal to Y and you're in position X and you don't know what Y is and blah blah blah. It's just a bunch of shit he's making up for this particular dinner table scenario. It has nothing to do with the future or providing advice. It's just a performance to make him seem better while they're eating dinner in this moment. What a pathetic attempt at performance. What a... Oh, shit. Actually, I'd rather hear about the possums. That kind of distracted me. And the guy's like, no, you wouldn't give it to your loved ones. You're just an idiot. You haven't absorbed enough psychopathic selfishness from the boomer generation to make you identifiable to us. You gotta think more selfishly. That's something that, I noticed my grandkids, their boomer parents were telling them that. Sometimes they'd run to them crying about some situation, and the boomer parents would say, well, you're not being selfish enough. And that always pissed me off, but at the time I was on a lot of Glimbiza, so I wasn't really fit to respond. But I remember that shit, and I remember being pissed off at them, thinking, you can't just tell your kids to be more selfish. What kind of fucking advice is that? It's like telling your kid to drink blood or eat flesh or kill people. What the fuck kind of advice is just be more selfish? That's like retard advice. Might as well tell your kid to cut their own throat. It's poor parenting. It's worse than poor. I'd have no parent at all. And that's rubber band back to the film Edward's cutting roses in the garden. He's coping by cutting something. Isn't that interesting? Oh, and this woman's so kind to him. She's a real mother. She's like, you can cut my hair all you want till it's gone. I just know you like doing it and it makes you feel useful. That's an example of real love. It's the kind of love most people in this show don't actually show this guy. This woman's willing to make herself be a kind of canvas. It's not a sexual thing or like a weird thing. It's a personal family thing. She's like, I just want to make you feel better. Well, that's good. Most mothers wouldn't even behave that way. Oh God, Winona Ryder in this is so beautiful. It's like they're all trying to cope with this creepy guy that's part of their family. I have personal experience with that. My great uncle, Phineas Plinkett, he had a bunch of mental disorders that didn't even have names back when they were diagnosed. His family didn't even know what to do with him. Eventually he ended up in an asylum, but before he could finally be put there, he fucked with the family for like 30 years. Drained a bunch of money from them. He did a bunch of bullshit. He refused all help that was offered to him. In retrospect, maybe we didn't offer him the help he needed. Maybe that's what this movie's trying to say. But fuck him. Let's talk about this movie. Just look at this dance. This artificial snow. The artist cutting pieces of marble, and they're flaking into the air, creating a beautiful shape, and even the shrapnel from that process of creation is itself a beautiful thing. The rapidity, the commitment, the obsession, forsaking everything else that's good and normal. Even the fallout from that can be beautiful to someone. That's what this movie's trying to say. And then this fucking asshole ruins the moment. He cuts this chick's hand. Fucking bastard. Like to cave his head in with a hammer. Why the fuck did you have to ruin that moment? This guy's like Biff from the Back to the Future movies. I love how the dad's just totally distracted. He's like, I've been drunk on eggnog for 6 hours and I'm putting up fake snow with the stapler. But to his credit, at least he pays attention to what's going on. But he doesn't figure it out. Fucking idiot. Why would this chick not break up with this guy? Seems like a fucking asshole. He's more human than you fucking chud. What, are you trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger? Just 'cause you got a leather jacket and blonde hair, you think you're a badass? Yeah, okay, that'll make you an adult. Blonde hair and a leather jacket? Yeah, put that on an 8-year-old. Oh, that 8-year-old's equivalent to a 40-year-old. He's totally badass. Oh God, poor Edward. I've been through this in my life. Cuts off all the clothes they tried to put on him. It's like, fuck these sculptures I made. No one even cared. It's like if my entire life and my relationships are all gonna fail, what's the point of supporting anything? It's like Edward didn't do those things just to make himself feel better. But if those things he did have no benefit to him, and worse than that, if they make him feel worse than he did before, What logical, sane person would continue that behavior? Nobody would. And he trolls the Satan chick. Oh, I love that. That's funny. And this black police officer is like, where the fuck's the guy with the knives for hands? And they're like, well, he's not here. And the fat chick's like, he was right there. Cut off the leg to my statue. Oh, all these women, they were very reliable in their accounts. Except for the part where they weren't. Now, these two women, they care about this guy. Platonically, not romantically. I like that the mother finally admits things. She's like, I don't understand how incompatible this guy would be with our society. It's very mature of her. It makes sense from a character point of view. Yeah, it's done a lot later in the narrative than it should have been, but that's kind of a Tim Burton hallmark. The drama and the aesthetic of the overall film takes precedence over the logic of the character's actions. It's fine. I'm not going to criticize it in this case. And finally the dad comes back. He's like, I drank my way from point A to point B and I couldn't find him. The dad's like, don't you fucking follow us, fucking stay here. Oh my god. Poor Edward. There's a shaggy dog. That's a good puppy. Get that hair out of his eyes, you can't even see. Poor doggy. Bred to have too much hair? Yeah, we'll trim now and then. And he just runs away. Oh shit. It's the popo. Get the fuck out of there, Ed. Don't stay there. This is not a good time to be visible to those people. God, the way his fucking Wolverine claws tick and click against the stucco of the house. It's fucking crazy, man. Picks the lock in like 2 seconds. It's pretty skillful. It's impressive. Oh my god. He doesn't even care about himself. He's just like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. Oh my god. Such a risk to ask him to do that. And he says, I can't. I don't want to hurt you. You want me to hold you? But I can't hurt you like that. Then she just forces herself into his arms. It's one of the best love scenes in any movie, in my opinion. So much at play. And then we cut to this guy with a giant blue ring on his hand, like a Vampiroteuthis infernalis eyeball. A squid blue eyeball. Remember that. And he says, "Would you like these hands? I'm your Vampiroteuthis infernalis father. Wouldn't you like a pair of hands? Instead of these creepy knives?" And he's like, "Oh my God, that'd be so much better. Yes, I would like those hands. I'd love those hands." And Vincent Price, with his blue squid eyes, promises his creation these hands. And then his heart fails. Right after that promise. And the knives go through the hands like Christ. Remember that Jesus got pierced through the hands by nails. This poor bastard, his hands got destroyed, just as his father died. God abandoned him to suffer without hands. To suffer by being an artist who could only cut what he touches. He couldn't create anything without destroying something first. That's what this movie's trying to say. And I'm sure people have tried to talk about it before. But imagine you're this guy. Imagine you can't even have a relationship without destroying someone. Never mind that crap. These two guys drinking beers, drinking, liquor in the truck. They're more important than what I was saying. You know what? They should have full attention. Forget what I was saying and just talk about this scene. Just think about this. They deserve all the attention. Just drive, guys. Just pay attention to what these guys are doing. Oh no, this kid's leaving the fucking house. What's he doing? He's going past the Brontosaurus. But watch Jurassic Park. It's more entertaining than a fucking leaf sculpture, kid. I love it. All the boomers are like, "Where the fuck's that guy who wasn't exactly like us? Anyone who's not exactly like us, you should just kill him." Great attitude, bro. See how long that lasts. Oh shit. Kids going by. Guys are going by. Oh my God. And Johnny Depp saves the kid from being killed by being run over by the van. But he's freaking out. So as the kid's trying to fight him, looks like he's trying to cut him. And then as soon as he touches anyone, they feel cut. And I gotta say something philosophical. The scene is about how artists, when they're trying to comment on society, get blamed for pointing out things that are wrong with society. They get blamed for causing those things in society that they point out as insufficient or wrong or abusive. The artist gets blamed just for pointing them out. It's literally killing the messenger, which is something even medieval idiots were opposed to. But all of society these days is so fucking stupid that they kill every messenger that ever tries to help them. And That's what this movie's saying. It's like, yeah, messengers make mistakes, but if you just kill them all, society's just gonna rot. Poor Edward has to run away back to his Frankenstein castle. And this chick is trying to convince people. She's trying to calm down the mob, but the mob is already convinced of its own opinion. Mobs are just hypnotized groups of idiots. They're always convinced of their own opinion. And it doesn't matter what you say or do. And the cop's like, fuck off, don't bother the Dr. Frankenstein estate. God, the gossiping in this makes me want to fucking gouge my ears out. Oh my god, there they go, they're going for the gate. Oh my god, the mob is succeeding, here they go. God, there's a chick whose hair looks like she's like she has like Minecraft hair or something. It's fucking weird. Anyways, Winona Ryder breaks her way through. She goes into the garden, runs up into the castle. She goes so far, tries so hard, goes up the staircase. There she goes. There's Johnny Depp. Sitting next to his little photo wall. And he's like, did I kill that guy? I was like, no, you're okay. Oh shit, Kevin's here with the gun. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ, shut the ceiling down. What an idiot. He just kicks Johnny Depp in the ribs. Beats him with a fucking, fireplace, thing. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, Winona Ryder, hit him with the piece of wood. Fuck him up. Holy shit. Good girl. Finally. Oh my god, he slaps her away. And finally, Johnny Depp's like, I'm fucking tired of your shit, man. You're threatening this chick. Like, couldn't help it. Had to be done. Now we got this famous Chad football player who's dead. Who's gonna take the blame? What's gonna happen to us? Here comes the mob to misinterpret what happened, as usual. My God. just says goodbye. What else can you say? She kisses him just once. Just saying that once. It's like it's enough for a lifetime. Sometimes that's all you get. Just that one utterance to last you your whole life. This chick grabs the thing. She goes out and she says, he's dead. She lies to them. She tells a lie to save the one she loves. And grabs a hand to make them believe. Like a resurrected body, like the body of Christ. She's like, here's the evidence back from the dead. Here's the holy object. Here's the relic. Here's the Ark of the Covenant. Here's the blah blah whatever. Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, I don't give a shit. It's convenient lies. And we cut back, finally, to the old woman. She never saw him again. And her daughter, her granddaughter's like, why don't you just go up there? She's like, no. No, it's not the same, because he wouldn't have aged. He's the same guy. She's like, I love him so much. I don't want him to see me as an old woman. I just want him to remain the way he is and remember me. She loves him so much, she doesn't want to corrupt his memories with reality. That's real love. I love this part. She's like, I think he's still alive. I'm not sure. She's like, he's the one who makes the snow. There he is cutting the ice to make the snow. Making the art that everyone else gets to bask in. Anyway, guys, That's it for me. I may not be back for a while. This commentary took a lot out of me. But I hope you liked it. I hope you're doing well. Anyway, thanks for watching. And as always, Plinkett out.